Yes, which is
They
the
did not. They
funniest
did
part.
not open up their geography books
No.
or their history books.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Doom Scroll podcast. Apologies, we did not put out like a new episode last week because just schedules and all that shit. But if you noticed, I apologize. We probably didn't, but we're here this week for you. So yeah, Calvin, how's it going?
It's going good, I guess. Considering everything. My wife's been sick this week, so that's been kind of a bummer. But other than that, I went to a Maroon 5 concert last night with my siblings, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty much been it. That and just working. It's been kind of nonstop, and it's about to get crazier the next couple weeks. So I'm trying to get as much as I can.
Yeah. Hopefully, you don't end up sick as well, because traveling is stressful enough. You don't need to be sick on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I'm pretty good. I've been sick, unsick. I don't know. My body has been being weird lately, and I've had like the past 4 weeks, I've had 3 random fevers that just turn into nothing. Like I could have sworn to last Friday. It was pretty high too. It was like 100, 102. And I finally like caved, took some Advil. I was like, fuck this. Body aches and stuff are just, nah, I don't want it. And like that kept it at like 102, but it didn't break until like hours later. So it was just weird. I thought for sure I had the flu or a COVID. I took a COVID test. It was negative. But then the fever broke and like never developed anything. I was tired the next day, but I never got the flu. I never got any congestion. It was just like here and then gone. And then I was like, okay, well, that was weird. That's, happened twice. But I was like, surely it won't happen again. And then yesterday, it was weird. Another Friday, like, what the fuck? It's like a cycle of like, what's with Fridays? Am I allergic to Fridays? So then it was like afternoon. And it's always like the first sign I start feeling it in my back because I have back issues. But you know how fevers like just exacerbate nerve pain. And so I start feeling my back start to ache. And I was like, no. Then my head starts hurting. I'm like, no, not yet. Like chills. And then before I know it, I'm getting a fever again. It only got the highest was like 100.8 this time. But went to urgent care. Des is always great about saving my life. I think she was like, basically, I'm not going to sleep if you don't go get this checked out. So we went, and they were actually like really nice and thorough, which I feel like is so rare these days. And we didn't have to wait super long. It was only like an hour and a half or something. They just ran a bunch of tests. So I had to get some blood work done this morning. And so far, like the only thing that's I'm still waiting for some is like my C-reactive protein was high, which just basically means like it's inflammation marker. So I'm having some sort of immune response, but we just don't know why or to what. So that's what we're trying to figure out.
What's happening on Fridays?
I don't know. Immune response Friday. Apparently my body's like, yeah, we're going to turn up the heat. We're going to party. I'm like, not like that, body, not like that. So, and then I ordered a home IV because you just get so dehydrated with fevers, and I just get dehydrated easily in general. And that was funny because I got some blood work done this morning and she used the same vein and I just started bleeding profusely. And she's like, are you on any blood thinners? I was just like, no. Yeah, just, I think she like, basically you get a little like hematoma when you get your blood drawn and it, clots or whatever. So she must have dislodged that and it just started like gushing blood. So I got like poked like 3 times and all that, but I do feel better after some water or some IV fluids. And hopefully it's just my body being dramatic and I can move on. But it's a little frustrating because it interrupts my life. I feel like last week I only hit the gym like twice because it exhausted me and I couldn't sleep. And then like this time couldn't hit the gym yesterday because I was just like, what the fuck? And then I'm resting today. So I'm frustrated just because routine. I'm a very
Yeah.
routine person, and it just puts me in a bit of a funk. But anyways, that was a long story for my body is just being dramatic. Maybe I'm just allergic to like the political climate, and
Maybe
yeah.
you're just so stressed out, your body's just like, I can't take it anymore.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And I've been stressed for a long time, not just by the political climate, like even before that. And so this just is another layer. So maybe it's just too much, and my body is like, how do we stop this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So anywho, now that we know about my current medical conditions, I should we talk about what's happening in the world, or at
Yeah.
least the U.S. Should I go over like quickly which topics we're potentially covering?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So just to kind of summarize it, we want to go over the No Kings protests, which are actually happening today. We are recording on a Saturday, and yeah, so going over that. Then, Trump wanting to send National Guard to cities, Chicago, Portland, and now San Francisco. The government shutdown continued. We are on week 3, and the more on the NSPM 7 fallout. We talked a little bit about that last time, but wanted to cover it a little bit more. And of course, we can't forget to talk about Turning Point's All American halftime show because they're so upset about Bad Bunny being the artist for the halftime show that they created their own, and it's just kind of funny. So yeah, should we start with the No Kings protests?
Yeah, you want me to take that way?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so today, October 18th, this will be for viewers. If you're watching this the day this comes out, it'll be last Saturday. But yeah, there is the second No Kings National Day of Action. There's over 2,600 events across the US and globally, with millions expected to be organized by ACLU and allies. This follows June's 5 million turnout, but today's fueled by NSPM 7 guard deployments and the shutdown pain. Yeah, so this is big. Lots of
Yeah.
people. I think I saw, I believe it was Boston, I saw a video of, and it was like just a whole area, just you couldn't see any bare area. It
Yeah.
was just, it looked like,
In Chicago too. It was crazy.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I know that there's some locally right here and a couple different places in our area. San Francisco is obviously going to be a really big one. LA is going to be a big one. Yeah, it's great. People are doing the right to protest, as long as things remain peaceful. I mean, I would like to say that, it should just be it, but we know how Trump likes to, turn things and make it like this whole fiasco. So we'll see if, hopefully no National Guard has to get deployed for that and, no one gets hurt. But yeah, I mean, I think we're in a situation where a lot of people, majority of Americans are feeling like, this country's turning into an authoritarian regime. Something else we should even talk about, which I didn't think about when we were talking about topics, is the whole Pete Hegseth having that demand of press. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of like they had like maybe you know more about it than I do. But basically, pretty much every big news outlet refused to sign it because it was just absolutely against the First Amendment. So, all this stuff is happening and, I can't blame people for, wanting to, be heard. Will that
yeah.
make a difference in anything? I don't know. I feel like we're, unfortunately, our commander in chief doesn't care about his citizens and, what we think. He's going to do what he wants. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of they make fun of it on the right, and they're like, "What king are you protesting?" Or "There's no kings," like what's the point of this protest? And it's just about basically it's focused on the abuse of power that we're experiencing that they don't understand or they don't agree with because it's working in their favor, but they would be saying the same thing if it was something that Biden was doing that was not working in their favor. So, it all is just another replay of the hypocritical aspect of the right or just like the complete like blind loyalty of the right. But I saw someone say there was like 200,000 they uh, suspected, I think, just for the DC protests alone. And so that's a pretty massive number. And yeah, it's that freedom of speech thing. Honestly, I know the way that they were talking about these protests before today, it was almost like they were setting out warnings or like saying that they're going to target people who are
Mm.
protesting, even if it was peaceful,
Yeah.
because, Trump doesn't like people disagreeing with him. He doesn't like people. I mean, he doesn't like the left in general. He
Yeah.
is not the president of every citizen. He is just the president of his loyal citizens. I feel like that is something that has been very new, at least in my lifetime. I've never had such a divisive president. And I
Mhm.
know they like to say that Obama was divisive. And I'm just like, come on, come on.
Obama didn't break laws. Like he didn't, fuck with amendments and like shit. Like
Right. And it's like, I feel like it's the equivalent of Obama being like, we want universal health care, but only for people who voted for me. Like
yeah,
it's getting to that ridiculous amount,
yeah.
point. And I think the Pete Hegseth thing, basically he wanted people to sign a no unauthorized information thing, which doesn't mean like classified shit shouldn't be put out there. It means like anything that hasn't gone through his approval would be considered unauthorized. And then it just becomes propaganda because you can't say anything negative. You can't, do a whole lot besides basically just be Fox News propaganda. So that is a huge problem.
But even Fox News left. They refused to sign it as well, which I was surprised.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good for them. Not that they're the leader in integrity.
No.
At least they have some boundaries.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually.
Yeah.
I think I saw it wasn't like one of them, only one signed it. And who was that?
I don't even know. I'd have to look.
Let me see if I could look
See.
it up. Who signed Pete Hegseth's media contract? See if I can even find that. Only one. It was it's called One America News Network. So they're the ones that signed his Pentagon media contract. It was the only outlet that agreed to the new rules, which requires reporters to stick to explicitly authorized info or lose access. Everyone else from Fox News, which was Hegseth's old gig, to CNN, ABC, and even Newsmax, did not sign it, calling it a First Amendment nightmare. Hegseth basically left with a propaganda echo chamber. So it's interesting that they're called One American News Network, and they're the only one that signed that. Yeah, fun times. We are living, like, one thing that also drives me crazy is just, it's nice when people, whether you're independent or on the left or wherever you fall, when some people can acknowledge that this is not normal, it makes me feel less crazy. So it's like, even if you're not getting into specifics with everything going on, just acknowledging that this is not normal tells you that there is something going on, So, yeah. I saw it where we're at. So in Sacramento, there was one. Roseville, there was one.
There's one in Placerville.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's one in Auburn or Grass Valley. There was
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising. I mean, not one area is all red or all blue, right? There's definitely a mix everywhere. But, you get into, Placerville area, you get into Grass Valley and Auburn. While Grass Valley and Auburn has a little bit more kind of like a hippie naturalist, liberal vibe, there is a lot of Republicans over there that, I drive that way for work all the time. And I'm seeing people's property have Trump signs and, like all the way up. So there's definitely a big number of red over there. So it's interesting when you do see people protesting out there. But yeah, I mean, it's big,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how big I'm sure the one in Sacramento is probably pretty big. I haven't seen any posts yet, but I've been trying to avoid news stuff lately.
Yeah. I posted some to the Discord. There's one like a aerial view of the Sacramento protest. Obviously, they're not as big as other protests because it's Sacramento, but looks like it was a pretty good turnout. So that's awesome. Good to see. But which, by the way, Discord, if anyone wants to join the Discord channel, it is more geared towards like health and fitness, LGBTQ plus and allies. But we talk about, other things outside of fitness, even if you just want to stay informed. I give a little like news summary each day for people who don't want to scroll. But if you need community, join the Discord group. Sorry, I didn't mean to like throw that out there, but it's
No,
like since we're here,
it's definitely a good place for, like you said, you have your fitness, you have your food, but we have a channel just for politics and just for general talking. But it's a good place to vent, to talk to other people who are feeling the same stressors that you're feeling. And it's just a sense of not everyone has an in-person community that can be helpful in these times, right? So it's nice to have at least some sort of channel or place to go to and know that people are taking your feelings seriously.
yeah, I know it's like the place that I go and I'm like, I feel like the world hates me. I don't know anybody. And then I open that up and I'm like, oh, hey, friends. Like, at least there's this group. So yeah, join us if you're interested. And
Now we're just gonna have to get VR suits and like create like a VR space and just all be.
we could all get on an Oculus and hang out and socialize in person. That's what we've come to in this world. Is we have to.
Pretty much.
Sorry, VR, but hey, it's better than nothing.
It's true.
So, anything else you want to cover about the No Kings protests? Oh yeah, I did also see that they've been peaceful so far. There's been like no arrests in New York, and that was a really big one. And so it just shows, like it's just a peaceful protest. It is not Antifa related. We're not looking to cause trouble. And I hope that they see that. And I hope that we don't give them any sort of narrative, with like violence and stuff like that. So
yeah, although Trump has basically named anyone who does protest Antifa, but I really love the videos of it's like Kristi Noem in Portland, and she's like, it's basically a war zone here and we're doing all this stuff, and then it cuts to like the actual protest and it's people in those like blow up costume suits like rave dancing on the street, and it's like, do you know what a war zone is? Like, this is like, okay.
I absolutely love that that's the approach that they are taking, because it doesn't feed into their narrative. Like at first they were, and it was kind of this like screaming in their faces and like not violence, but definitely a lot of confrontation and kind of towing the line of getting a little bit, not violent, but, pushing the boundaries for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it kind of flipped. I don't know if they had like a meeting and we're like, let's actually like make it so they cannot use any video footage. And anything they use, just ridiculousness of people in costumes dancing. And I'm just like, I fucking love that pivot. It was the best thing that they could have done. So good job, guys. Whoever thought of that.
Yep. We need more of that around the nation. Just people in blow up costumes. Like we need mascots to unite and be on the forefront of all of these protests. I want to see Mickey Mouse in the forefront of these protests, just like rave dancing with glow sticks,
Yes. I even saw that they had like a whole like wardrobe of costumes for like people who needed one that they could like use and wear around. Like, that's pretty great. So I mean,
it. We're right around the corner from Halloween, so it's the perfect time to grab it. Go get your Halloween costume and just go out there and protest.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Spirit Halloween somewhat close by. You can find a costume mat and just go for it. So yeah, I love those videos. Maybe we can throw one up here for people, but yeah. Let's see. Should we move on to, it kind of rolls into basically what we were talking about of Trump wanting to send the National Guard to cities, Chicago, Portland, now San Francisco. Should I just kind of go over that one?
Yeah.
So, as we know, the National Guard situation has been an ongoing thing, Trump trying to deploy them. So Trump's escalating deployment since early October. Chicago, 100 troops, October 5th for crime sweeps. Portland, 300 California Guard, and October 5th for ICE clashes, and now 400 to uh, SF for vagrancy ops. So it was after some dude, Benioff's, I don't know how to say his last name, suggestion, but it's funny. He actually like backtracked that and apologized. I don't know what happened there. I'm like, cool way to like recommend that and then be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it. So yeah, it's been this ongoing thing where Trump's been trying to send National Guard. It got blocked from, Oregon National Guard from going to Portland. And so then he tried to send California's National Guard and then tried to send like Texas National Guard either to Chicago or Portland, whatever. And the judges continued to block those things, but I don't think he listened, or I'm not up to date completely. I don't know if you have more info on.
No, I believe I did see something where it was about the Oregon National Guard. The judge blocked it, and so then he went to Texas, and then Greg Abbott was like, "Yeah, I'll be your, I'll do whatever you want, Trump, Daddy Trump." And so he was sending his guys, and then I saw that the same judge was like, "You didn't listen, like just because like that's no National Guard being deployed in the city," and so she or he, I don't know, did another thing. So I don't know if after that, if he's still deployed or what. I wasn't following at that point, but I feel like we're getting to the moment where people on the right are starting to wake up a little bit. You definitely still have the people that are just so far MAGA that they don't care. But we're definitely seeing a lot more people being like, okay, it's not right to, have our own military or our National Guard going in against, our own people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. And I know this last week he basically threatened San Francisco, I'd love to see them go, walk around Oakland in the Bay Area because, those people don't play. So, yeah, it's gross, we're, sending people who were, threatening Marines to come in and whatever, not just National Guard, but like actual like military. And, this isn't the country that we're, supposed to be. The National Guard is supposed to help protect, its citizens and, make sure that like, whatever. So yeah, it's just not, it's interesting to see what he, pulls out of his ass to make this happen. Obviously there've been between, I don't know if it's necessarily the National Guard that's been involved, but definitely ICE has been just like super violent towards people. I saw one video of like an elderly man who was basically thrown down and like he like had multiple broken bones. It's just no reason, like there's no reason. So yeah, I want it to stop. I hope it stops. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, but we'll see.
Yeah. They're basically just manhandling anyone, even if they don't need to be manhandled. Like, even if they full on put their hands up, put their hands behind their back and are peaceful about it, as soon as they get close, they just fucking grab them and like shove them to the ground. And it's just like, seriously?
These are people that have like anger issues that are being put in these positions.
I feel like if anyone is either newly joined ICE or is part of ICE at this point in time, they're MAGA, like because they made that choice to join right now, and they put so much money into expanding ICE, and so it just is really bad because there's these angry people that see these people who they see everyone as like the enemy, and it sucks. You would hope that they'd be neutral, and it's just like, even if this person is in our country illegally, you don't have to throw them on the ground and be an asshole. Like, just do your job then, but be polite, be respectful. And yeah, it's crazy the things you see of like like people getting invaded like in their houses. They're just sitting in their houses, and then like ICE comes barging in with guns drawn, and you're just like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
there was another article I read where it was ICE going into someone's home, and the resident, I believe he was a citizen. I believe he was of Latin descent, but I can't remember exactly what his status was. But he was like, "Hey, I will come outside and I will talk to you. Just give me 1 minute. I'm putting my dog away. He like doesn't like strangers." So he put the dog in the bathroom, and he came out, and ICE agents arrested him or did something with him, and they walked into the house, walked into the bathroom, and just shot the dog, killed the dog
God.
for no reason, just to do it. Like, these are the type of people that are in ICE. Like, it's an authoritarian like power trip. And I was watching another video. It was a lawyer talking about how these ICE agents, I believe she said the term was they have like qualified immunity, something to that effect. And a lot of them think that means that they're, whatever their actions are, they're immune to it. And she was breaking it down. She was like, it actually means that they can't be sued. So like if they were to physically harm you, you can't sue them. They have qualified immunity or whatever it was, but it doesn't give them immunity for breaking the law. So if they hurt you and they do it in an illegal way, yes, they can be arrested. So I mean, obviously we're going to have, the administration kind of backing them up. But once that's gone, I really hope these people who have taken things too far, I really hope that they see consequences for their actions, because it is so disgusting the way that they are treating people. And it's not just illegal immigrants. It's not just legal immigrants. It's U.S. citizens who have been born and living here. If you just happen to either question an ICE agent, or if you happen to not look like you are white, you get to be a target. And it's just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. It is crazy, and it's getting, a little scarier because that kind of falls into, I guess we can kind of go into this one because it, flows the NSPM 7, that memo where they were targeting people who basically just don't agree with Trump. So it's like people they perceive as being anti-Christian or anti-capitalist, um, you know, being a domestic threat. And I feel like they've been like ICE has been targeting that as well as, people who might be in this country illegally. So it makes you a little nervous about, things you post online, all that sort of stuff. Because if you think about it, if you're on some like terrorist watch list, some like how do you know? And I saw this guy who was like trying to fly out of the country, and they canceled his flights because he was on some like watch list. And it was bizarre. I'm just like, dear God, like what if we try to go somewhere and they're like, oh, you posted something on social media we didn't like, so you're on this watch list, so you can't go anywhere. And it's just like that is definitely, First Amendment being fucked with. Like how else can you describe that? So it just gets really concerning, really dangerous. Uh, and I feel like there are some Republicans that are at least people in the middle of the road that see this as being a huge problem. I don't think that, loyalist MAGA people are going to see it as a problem until if, let's say, some other Democratic president, or I'm like, if Democrats ever take over the White House again, they'll start seeing the issue with it then. But until then, they wouldn't. But I also don't see any other Democratic president doing what Trump is doing, because the First Amendment is very important to our country, or at least it should be. And this is supposed to be the party of freedom of speech, and they've done the complete opposite of that. And how they don't see how hypocritical that is, I don't know, but I know blind loyalty is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Republicans are supposed to be the party of less government, right? More
Hmm.
rights, less government. And at least since I've been of voting age, that's always been like the issue with Democrats is they want more government control or whatever. And this is the most government control we've seen. Like, it
100%.
is absolutely terrifying. So like the fact that that's not hitting people, like this is wrong. Obviously it's because it's, it's benefiting what their ideals are. But there is going to be a point, and it's starting to get that, where, it is affecting them. I've been seeing multiple videos of soybean farmers, who last year most of their soybeans goes to China. China
Hmm.
buys our soybeans, and they, I believe it was something, last year's crop was like 18 billion, dollars for soybeans. And now China's not buying anything, and so we're having all these farmers who invested in these crops, and they're fucked. They're gonna, they can't pay their employees. They don't even have all of their employees because ICE is taking most of their staff that, they can afford to pay. And you're going to see people losing their farms. We're already seeing it where grocery prices, that was the first thing that Trump, kind of, talked about when he was running again, was that, grocery prices are outrageous, and, I'm gonna fix it and all this stuff. And it's gotten worse. And this whole like tariff war thing of we're gonna play chicken with all these countries and see who blinks first. Well, they're all fine. They're all banding
Right.
together. It's that just that ego of like, no one's gonna survive without us. The US, we're such a prominent, like, yeah, people are going, like, us being out of the picture is going to, hurt other countries in certain ways, but they're going to be fine without us. We're the ones who aren't going to be fine without everyone else,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
we've already seen like Subaru's leaving, I mean, that sucks. Toyota's going to be leaving. Like, I still want my Tacoma, and now it's going to be even more harder to get. So, it's, everyone's starting to see it in different ways, whether or not they're recognizing whose fault it is. But yeah, like, it's
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know he actually bailed out Argentina, like their farmers, and now China's buying their soybeans. So instead of, focusing on America first, like we're supposed to be with this administration, I feel like he's done everything but that is something that MAGA is waking up to, or at least most Republicans have seen. I've seen a lot more posts on X about people who are like, I'm over Trump because he's done everything but what he said he's going to do. And those are the people I think that actually understood, or at least looked at policy a little bit and did actually vote for whatever he was saying he was going to do. And were not just completely loyal because it was Trump. They didn't have the blind loyalty, or if they did, they don't now. But they've been criticizing what he's been doing, and I've seen a lot more of that. And it shows, people are starting to kind of shift and wake up. And I think he knows that, or else he wouldn't be trying to fuck with, like, the election stuff and gerrymandering and stuff. But it's going to be a slow process, you know, and it just, there's always going to be the people that he'll have a hold on for the rest
Yeah.
of eternity, probably. But yeah, I think it's just nerve wracking with the amount of things that are happening that they accuse the left of doing. And I remember when 2020 was rolling around and Biden won, they were saying, just wait, he's going to declare martial law. He's going to declare lockdowns again. And it's going to get worse and stuff. And none of that ever happened. And here we are with Trump deploying National Guard, basically trying his hardest to be able to declare martial law in some way, shape, or form. And haven't been successful yet, but, you know, they're headed that direction. And it's just, yeah, it's insane to me.
Yeah. I think that kind of rolls into the next topic of, we're now going into our third week of the government being shut down, and there's people have different reasons why they think this is happening. I think, definitely a good prominent potential reason is the whole Epstein files. They have, I think it's something like they need 118 votes to release it, and they had 117. And then there was another Democratic nominee or Democratic representative that's supposed to be added, and she would also vote yes to release it. But that whole like the government is shut down because of Democrats. You've got airports being told they have to, play these stupid Kristi Noem videos of her just saying, "You're a TSA worker. You like the reason why your TSA line is long is because of Democrats." Like just
Yeah.
completely like utter bullshit. But the truth is that all the Democrats are there in DC, like trying to negotiate, trying to keep the government open, and all the Republicans have gone on vacation. They're not doing anything. They don't care, and that's it. Also helps, Trump's purpose of, well, I'm just gonna start removing shit. I'm gonna start hurting Democrat, whatever. It's
Yeah.
scary. I mean, I don't know if we've had a shutdown this long. I feel like we have before. I can't remember. Um, I think when I think we had one that was like 21 days or something like that with
Yeah.
Biden.
Wasn't no. It was, I think the last one we did have a shutdown last time Trump was in office, but it wasn't
Okay.
this long, I don't think. And then there was one maybe with the Bush administration or something along those lines. I can't recall if there was one with Obama. I know we got close with Obama. And back then I was a military spouse. And I know we were kind of sweating bullets because that means you don't get paid. And, you know, you get back pay or whatever. But how are you going to pay your bills in the meantime? And I know Trump like found money to pay the troops or whatever. It's like, oh, you found money. Okay. How about that money you sent to Argentina? How about all the money that we're spending with wars, helping Israel, helping Ukraine, um, and just we're in everyone else's business except for our own people. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty pissed because the reason the government shut down, or at least why the Democrats don't want to budge, is because of the ACA credits that are expiring in starting in 2026, which means premiums basically are doubling, if not more. And open enrollment is open now. So on the 15th, I was able to look and see. And basically, if I want the same benefits as I had last year, it is double. It was like $927 for a health insurance premium for my plan. And I can't afford 927. Like, it's like almost rent. And you live in California and you're paying crazy rent to start. It's just like no one can afford this. And then it just
Yeah.
pushes us back into being stuck in jobs that like we hate because we can't afford insurance. And even those premiums are most likely going up too. So it's not like even then it's,
If they even
safe.
offer them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, for me personally, I work for myself now, but if I were to get a job, my options, I have a culinary background. No restaurants offer benefits. So I'd have to work, at a grocery store kitchen or something like I have previously and got pretty good benefits, but you make minimum wage. And so you're broke, but yeah, at least have some health insurance. So it's just, it's not great. Or I could be a personal trainer at like a big box gym. But again, you pay minimum wage and who knows if they even have benefits, or if they do, then are they good? So it's
Yeah.
just the options are stupid. And I just don't understand how they can just want to get rid of that without having a game plan first. They're trying to get rid of the ACA and they're saying that it's why it made insurance so expensive to begin with. But I know Obama put that in place as a stepping stone. He didn't want it to end there. It was kind of something to start, something to build off, and we just
Mm.
never did.
Yeah.
And I fault Democrats for that too, you know. But it's progressively got worse, but this is going to make it exponentially worse. And for Republicans to just not have a plan to replace it, like this is why it is your fault. If you think you can do better, then fucking do better. Have a plan. Don't just make it so people can't afford their insurance and so no one has the health care they need. And like we live in one of the, richest countries in the world, and we're one of the only ones that doesn't have universal health care, and people just die if they can't pay for it. And it's ridiculous. And they're saying that Democrats want healthcare for illegals, and that's why it's shutdowns. Like, actually, Democrats want healthcare for actual working class people. And I think they just want to assume illegals because it's like, oh, because if they go into the emergency room, they have to be treated.
But that's for
Do
anyone.
right. And it's like, okay, you just want people to die if people don't have insurance? Come on. That is not America first. That is just the most cold fucking not Jesus not Jesus way. Jesus would heal the poor and you know people who, MAGA these days would like turn their nose up at. And yeah, anyways, it's super frustrating because it affects a lot of people, and I don't know that people are informed as much of how it affects them. For the people who are just taking on the narrative of like, oh, it's Democrats wanting healthcare for illegals, like people just believing that without realizing the real consequence, they're gonna find out, unfortunately, in not the best way.
I mean, that's why we're seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene change all of a sudden, is because she was like, my daughter can't afford. I mean, which she could, because Marjorie Taylor Greene makes a lot of money.
Right.
So yes, she could. But, her daughter can't afford insurance now, because it's like, yeah, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah. And it's interesting, I think, well, with her, she's been quite agreeable with Democrats lately, but I think it's just strategy. So it's like, don't trust her. Take what she says with like a grain of salt.
She's up for election. She's trying to save face. Yeah.
Exactly. I think she does see and is maybe listening to, her constituent. I can't say that word. She's listening to the people who elected her, and she knows that those are the people that got her elected. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't, the MAGA community. At base level, people are going to vote for what affects them the most if they know that's what's affecting them. And I think she knows this is a big one. So I think she's trying to separate a little bit and save face so that, she can get reelected. But she's also still trying to appeal to the MAGA crowd, because I was on X yesterday. And so she's thrown out things that you're like, God damn it, why am I agreeing with her? And then yesterday she throws out like, did you notice since the government shut down, the skies have been so clear. I've not seen any chemtrails, and like the government hasn't been spraying chemicals into the air. I'm like, you had to go there because you're just like, shit, I'm agreeing too much with Democrats. I gotta throw some crazy shit in there to let MAGA know we're still on the same team.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah. Yeah. So just because she makes sense sometimes does not mean she's going to make sense all the time.
Nope. That's true.
But again, I think it's strategic because I do think that Republicans are starting to see, at least the ones that are like not like paid influencers. Of course, they got nothing to lose. They're not up for election, so they could just say whatever if they're getting paid for it. But either we've got people in government who are just quiet or are saying little things to speak out, because I do think years from now we're going to look back and people are going to look at who separated themselves in these moments and stood up against Trump. And I think that's going to be important. I think she's seeing that, and I think other people are going to start to see that too. But it's going to be
yeah, for sure.
So, anything else on the government shutdown? Should I see what the longest government shutdown has been?
Sure. I know I'm going to be going on back-to-back flights the next 2 weeks, so that's absolutely terrifying, knowing that, not just TSA lines, but, air traffic controllers and all that fun shit. Yeah.
That's going to be not fun. So, the last shutdown was December 22nd, 2018. So Trump was president again at that time. So there was one from December 22nd to January 25th, 2019. So it was 35 days long. That was under President Donald Trump during his first term. It kicked off when Congress couldn't agree on a budget, with Trump demanding $5.7 billion for his border wall. So it's always something, right? It's always immigration related. A demand Democrats, led by incoming House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, flat out rejected. About 800,000 federal workers were furloughed or worked without pay, and it hit parks, air travel, and even TSA hard before a deal. No wall funding ended it. So yeah, we're on day 18 today. So we're getting there. I would not be surprised if we got there, because it's just week after week. There's not even been like a sign that we're coming to an end with it because they're just clashing. And
Well, I
I
think
don't, I
even
don't,
I feel like last time at least they were trying to meet and make agreements, and now there's nothing. There's no talks happening at all. So
yeah, it's frustrating because you feel almost like you're held hostage as a citizen because we have no say in what's happening right now. Like we voted for the people that are trying to work this out, but you know, we didn't vote for the Republicans who are holding up the line, and it's really frustrating. So it's hard not knowing if your insurance premiums are actually going to double or if by miracle they're going to work something out and things will be continued. So at least it'll just be a normal level of insurance premiums going up instead of astronomically.
yeah,
But we just don't know. I hate the uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty right now. It's fucking awful.
yep.
So on that note, should we talk about the Super Bowl and how
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
MAGA is creating their own Super Bowl? So they're Turning Point USA Super Bowl halftime show because they're mad about Bad
They
Bunny.
want to make sure that an American is the performer for the Super Bowl, the American Super Bowl. They just happen to forget that Puerto Rico is a part of America.
Yes, which is
They
the
did not. They
funniest
did
part.
not open up their geography books
No,
or their history books.
yeah, they just hate that he like is speaks Spanish, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, yeah, because he's from fucking Puerto Rico, which he's still a citizen. So I don't know, cry harder. Like they're the most snowflakey of snowflakes, and they say that like the left is so snowflakey. I'm like, well, we didn't create an alternate Super Bowl because we didn't like whoever was playing. And I find it funny that the NFL is just like, meh, we don't care. Like they're just
I
like,
was very surprised that the NFL chose Bad Bunny. I think that's great. I
yeah,
don't listen to Bad Bunny,
me either. Yeah,
but I like the snippets that I've heard are catchy. That's just not the kind of music I listen to, but I have no problem with him being the Super Bowl, halftime show, whatever. I think there's been plenty of artists that have been the Super Bowl halftime performer that should not have been the Super Bowl halftime performer. I thought Kendrick Lamar last year was amazing. And I know that was a huge controversy on that too.
yes.
So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I would watch it just to see what happens, but I don't know if the turning point. I saw like their like a halftime show flyer. I don't know if it was real or not, but it was like the headliner was like Kid Rock, which I
Yeah,
don't know if that's true. That's just absolutely ridiculous because
it is true.
it's like Kid Rock and Ted Nugent, and it's like really like
Yeah,
the most like irrelevant artists. Like Kid Rock had like one popular song in the early 2000s, late 90s, and then like just totally fell out.
yeah. They've been throwing Creed around too. And I'm like, you know what?
Mm.
You fucking go for it. You have your halftime show with Kid Rock and Creed.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God. Yeah. It's funny. I saw that poster too, and I wasn't sure if it was someone like trolling them because
Mhm.
it said like a special guest by the measles, and it made me laugh so fucking hard because the anti-vaxxers and like the
Mhm.
measles outbreak that's been happening. I'm like, is that a joke? Like, can someone make this just to fuck with them? Because that's amazing. But I'm not sure. But I don't think the measles are actually a real group. So I feel like it's someone actually fucking with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far, I don't know that these are verified or like confirmed, but Kid Rock, he's been like the hands down top pick for them and who they've been kind of, putting out there. So, he's a mix of like country rap and it's ridiculous, but whatever floats their boat because he's a MAGA guy and that's all they care about. And then Tom McDonald, which he's like that white rapper who, raps about he's basically a MAGA rapper and it's stupid. And I know they were joking about Laura Trump performing and she's like the absolute worst. And she posted something that was like how libs are melting down about her potentially performing at the Super Bowl. I was like, No one is melting down. Do it. It would be hilarious. Please do it.
Mhm.
I want to laugh. Thank you.
I want to have like the countless like TikToks and memes, like the Australian hip hop dancer, where it's just
Yes.
so cringe and horrible, but like it feeds you for like the next year. Like, do it,
Yes.
do it.
Yes. Exactly. And I feel like that's the only reason that people would tune into like the Turning Point one, just
Mhm.
because like there's so many memeable moments, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you don't want to give them ratings and not like Bad Bunny
But yeah,
ratings. But I'm sure you could probably find clips and replays.
yeah, I'm just gonna watch clips later and see how bad it was. But I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch Bad Bunny. You know, good for the NFL. I don't know who's picking the music. I don't know what
me
they're.
either.
I don't know if they're just going based on whatever. But good for them.
Yeah,
Because it would have been very easy for them to just play it safe and pick an artist that either doesn't push any waves or is totally matter friendly. So
yeah. And it's interesting because you think of the NFL and you think of like you know a lot of MAGA people being fans and stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like the hardcore MAGAs are not exactly their what's it called
audience.
their audience, their age group. I think that they are a decent percentage of it, but they also have people who are interested because they're athletes. And
Mhm.
like the NFL is very diverse, right? So there's people who aspire to be in the NFL. They're the ones who are watching the Super Bowl. There's a lot of younger people watching the NFL, and entertainment is important to younger people. Like it's all about the commercials and the halftime show, not just about the actual game. And I think that they know how important the entertainment aspect of it, is,
Yeah, they're gonna get people watching that don't watch football, like the younger audience,
especially
because they
now.
like Bad Bunny. Yeah, especially now. Don't get me wrong, I love, I'm a big Beatles fan. I love Paul McCartney. But if Paul McCartney played today, like I know he played the Super Bowl years and years ago, but if he played today, like yeah, you would have hardcore football fans, Paul, watching it and whatever. But you're not going to drag anyone from the younger audience to be like, oh, I'm so excited for Paul McCartney to play. They don't even know who he is. They think Kanye West started him, you know. So it's a good smart play. I'm surprised that they did it knowing the pushback they were going to get from.
Yeah, yeah. And they haven't folded, which has been great.
Yeah.
But the other thing I find funny is I saw people being like, like Super Bowl used to be a family friendly show. Like, what happened to it being a family friend? I'm like, did you not remember seeing Janet Jackson's tit?
Mm-hmm.
Like it hasn't been like a family show for a long time. So they have amnesia apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But the next person they have tossed around for being a person, Lee Greenwood. I don't know who the fuck they are. It says for God Bless America, or God Bless the USA, nostalgia. I guess maybe that's his song. So he's the ultimate red, white, and blue crooner, and it fit the worship/country angle. Then there's Ralph. I don't know how to say his last name. So he's an opera guy, I guess,
No.
volunteering. Um, told
I was about
Vanity
to say,
Fair.
is that the kid from Karate Kid? Ralph Macchio?
I don't know. um, yeah, I don't know who this person is, but he's all about patriotic reverence and slamming Bad Bunny as divisive. Other ones that have been kind of thrown around are like Snoop Dogg and Creed, as you said. And let's see, yeah, that's what we got so far, and I think it's still to be determined to see who really ends up in there in that mix. But I can guarantee you it will be full of mutable things and I just full of cringe.
Yeah.
Of course, we know MAGA loves those fucking sparklers and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So if they cannot forget the sparklers for a fucking Charlie Kirk memorial, I guarantee that's just going to be another sparkler Kid Rock Creed scenario because America. So looking forward to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Who else? If you could pick anyone else to perform either in the Turning Point halftime show or like,
Mm.
the usual halftime show, who would you pick?
That is tough. Shoot, I don't know. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of racist singers, so it's hard to name some off the top of my head. I'm very disappointed in Snoop Dogg, so Turning Point can have him. Same with Carrie Underwood. I used to really like Carrie Underwood, and found out she was MAGA, and that's disappointing. Gosh, I don't know. I feel like I can't even think of any artists. They did Beyonce. They did Rihanna. They've done Kendrick Lamar. I don't even know who I listen to music about anymore. Jeez.
I'm surprised they haven't had a Taylor Swift halftime show yet, considering who she's, with. I don't know. I'm sure maybe eventually, or maybe she's too expensive. I don't know, but I'm surprised. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel like pre Travis Kelce, she would have done a good halftime show. Obviously, like the Eras tour was fucking insane and people went crazy for that. So I'm sure she would have put on a great show. She has a great catalog. I think doing it now or probably any time in like the next couple of years, it's just going to look like she's only got to do it because of Travis Kelce, which I don't think she wants that. She doesn't want, I mean, Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce, but Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. And so I think, she doesn't want to have the image of she got something because of a man or, whatever.
Yeah. Which I don't think she's one of the biggest artists there is. And people could say that, and they will because MAGA, but definitely wouldn't be the case. Like she's huge, she has she's such a massive artist that she actually creates movements without even trying, or like her basically, what's it called when you tell someone who you're voting for, endorsing, like when she like people want her endorsement because she has that much effect, that much power. And like I just saw that she wore some like Sea Otter shirt and like ended up raising like millions of dollars for the Monterey Bay Aquarium or something along those lines, just because she was wearing the shirt. I'm like, it just shows how powerful, like how much of an influence that she has. And I'm like, damn, I got a shirt. I'm gonna put my face on it and see if we can start my GoFundMe. Like, come on, people. I mean,
that's why the NFL keeps showing her up in the box every time the Chiefs play, is like because they know that people are just wanting. I mean, not that people are watching NFL just because of Taylor Swift, but there is an audience that is going to watch because of Taylor Swift. So it definitely brings it in. But yeah, no, who would you add? I mean, I think Paramore would be a great.
Yeah,
if they're still a band, there's a lot of stuff happening, but I think Paramore would do a great job.
I think they would kill it. I mean, even if it was just Haley Williams on her own, and I know she probably would never do that. I mean, she might. I don't know. She's doing some solo stuff now, but I would love if Paramore ever got that opportunity. Unfortunately, I don't think they ever will because they're very like, I mean, underrated. It's basically like they have their fan base, but if you're not a fan, it's almost like you're not. It's like you love them or you just don't know about them. I've never heard of anyone that hates Paramore, but there's people who are just like, yeah, they're all right. I heard their shit. But yeah, I'd be stoked if they did the halftime show. I feel like if I were to choose someone for the Turning Point USA, trying to think of like old cringy Christian bands like Plus One. It was basically like the Christian Backstreet Boys or NSYNC of the day. I don't know what happened to them now. Or Michael W. Smith, just because, he was popular one back in the day. They should just do like a reunion tour of all the old like Christian contemporary music.
They just need to recreate the early 2000s like 11 o'clock at night commercial where it's like, that's Christian music, and then it shows like each little artist. Like they just need to do that, just that.
Yeah, where it's like, I remember back in the day when we'd hear the like random Christian artist on the radio who was like secretly Christian, but like very vague in their wording. And if you didn't know they were Christian, you wouldn't know. And like that's
Switchfoot,
Switchfoot,
Lifehouse.
Yes.
I didn't know Three Doors Down was a Christian rock
Yeah.
band.
Reliant
Yeah.
K, MXPX. Oh yeah, I forgot about that with Flyleaf. POD.
Hmm.
I think even Evanescence might have
Yes, Evanescence is
been.
also, yeah.
And I don't think they're hardcore Christians now. I don't even think Switchfoot is, but that definitely is how they started, which is pretty funny. I wouldn't be surprised if all of these bands are like deconstructed now. I feel like a lot of people from that era ended up deconstructing their faith instead of, doubling down kind of situation. I feel like there's a lot of like reborn or born again Christians right now. And like born again Christians are extra because they're like have this renewed faith, renewed passion, and they're the loudest and they're the most like, rigid on things. Whereas like people who were born into it back when I was born into it have since relaxed or just deconstructed altogether. And so it's kind of interesting to see how that has taken place. But I never had it on my bingo card for like Russell Brand to become a Christian. There's been a lot of people, famous people, who have suddenly like become Christian, and I'm just like, what is what's happening? Like right now, like, have you seen the example of Christianity right now? And then this is when you're like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
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 So
I mean, I also think, I think the Jonas Brothers would be a good, halftime show. They put on a pretty good show from what I've seen. I'm trying to think of who else is just really big and puts on a good show. SZA, I mean, she was with Kendrick Lamar on one of the songs, but I think she would be great just on her own. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, my tastes aren't necessarily what, everyone's tastes are. Like, I would like to see the
yeah, same.
Deftones. Like, they would be great. Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think K-pop Demon Hunters, let's get them out because those songs hit. I would definitely watch that, you know, compared to Turning Point, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Has I need to has Pink ever done a halftime show?
I don't think so.
Because she has like an awesome show and she could fly around the arena like she does.
Uh-huh.
And she's just super talented, high energy. I think she would be great. But again, oh, okay, yeah, she has. She's done a Super Bowl halftime show. It was back in 2018.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember. I think she did swing around the. I think she did like come down.
Yeah, she joined Justin Timberlake as a special guest. So it wasn't like
Mm.
her thing, but she was like there. So that's cool. I wish she could get the whole slot though. So now that we've discussed who we would like to see at the
Oh,
Super Bowl.
this will technically be Bad Bunny's second Super Bowl performance
What? Then
because
when?
he was part of Shakira's Super Bowl performance. He was one of the guest people.
Okay, so just didn't know about him and no one cared before, but now they really care now. So
Mm-hmm.
just shows you how that works. So yeah, should we talk about what we've been watching and
Yeah.
that sort of thing?
Let's see. What have I been watching? Supernatural, King of the Hill. Still going through all that. We did watch. I don't know if I watched this before last time we talked. If I brought it up, but I watched the documentary on Lilith Fair on Hulu. That was really good. That would be another great halftime performance. Let's just bring back Lilith Fair. I feel like Super Bowl football people are gonna love Lilith Fair. Like that would be great.
I don't even know who that is.
That's Sarah McLachlan, Jewel.
Okay.
I think of her name. The Sheryl Crow.
Okay. So it was like
The
a girl
ended.
band group?
It wasn't a group. It was a festival, but it was all female performers because
Okay.
back in the 90s, they would only let like one female performer play at a festival because it was too many women. So Sarah McLachlan started her own festival called Lilith Fair, and it was all female performers. So I think that would be
That's
great.
cool.
That's what I nominate. I nominate Lilith Fair for the most testosterone-filled sport halftime show. But yeah,
It's
so
pretty
watching
gay though. It's a pretty gay sport. It's a bunch of
it
guys
is
going around grab
touching
assing each other.
asses. Yep.
Yeah. And so a little gay, sorry.
I mean, that's what they say. Like the more gay you are, the more you try and hide it, right?
Exactly. So you might as well try to hide it while you're touching touching men.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got to touch some balls. Yeah, no, that and been watching an anime called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Um, and God, what else have I watched? I feel like the last 2 weeks has just been a blur. I don't even know who I am anymore. That's what it feels like. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much same. Watching Top Chef still. I paid $30 for the. I get. It's like there's no free Top. There's 3 seasons that are free of Top Chef. Everything else you have to pay for, and the best option is Amazon. They have all the seasons. They cost like $30. Granted, there's like 17, 18 episodes per season, but damn, that's like the most expensive digital season I have ever come across. It's great though, obviously worth it because I did it, but I don't want to keep doing it. But yeah, Top Chef. Finally watched like the last episode of Afterlife, which is that kind of like dramedy with Ricky Gervais or whatever, based in the UK. That was a really good show. I did watch a documentary, but I can't remember. I think it was like a true crime one. And I'm spacing, so I can't remember which one it was. But I think there's a few, or there's a new documentary coming out. I hope to watch this. It just came out, but it was like The Perfect Neighbor is what it's called, and it looks pretty good. I love that true crime kind of documentary shit. And yeah, there hasn't been. I don't know. There's been some good documentaries this year, but I haven't seen any that I'm like looking forward to being released at the moment. A little bit dry in that area, I feel like at the moment, but hopefully something will come. I'm sure we're gonna get a documentary on Tyler Robinson at some point, whether it's a year from now or 5 years from now or every year from now, and we learn something new. I don't know. I feel like that's a true crime documentary unraveling in real time. So yeah.
Yeah. We've been rewatching the AMC series Interview with a Vampire. That's a
Okay.
really good show.
Not watched that one.
It's really good.
Interesting. Not to check it out.
Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of things I need to check out, but I've just been too involved with Top Chef.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's all I can think of. I feel like I've been a lot more disconnected from social media the past couple of weeks just for mental health sake. But I feel like with the government shutdown, there's things that are happening, but it's been a little bit less, like hard hitting things, knock on wood.
It's like the same stuff over and over again.
So it hasn't been as much of like a shock to the system where you're just like, whoa, what? Like, what does this mean? What's going to happen? Right now, we're in this, like, you just kind of not give up, but you surrender to what is happening right now. And it's like the government shut down. There's nothing in your control with that at the moment. And whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But it's just been kind of the same cycle of things. So,
Yeah, I think the same. I think I've got to a point where it's just like I don't give a fuck anymore. It's, um, when it gets to the point where it's just affecting your everyday life, and like, it just gets to the point where like I can't do anything about it, so I'm just gonna like kind of try and make the best of what I can, and it's still important to be informed, but I'm trying to adjust my algorithm so that's not all I'm seeing all the time.
there is the voting on 50 if you're in California, with the gerrymandering situation. And I know there's a lot of vote no's on 50 in our county because it is a red one, but it is a temporary thing. I think people need to realize that. And yeah, I'm voting yes because our potential like healthcare and everything and rights depend on it. So yeah, I know it's something my parents are not voting yes for, but whatever. Yeah. So vote yes if you're in California. Help us out. But that's about all I can think of right now. Yeah. So on that note, yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. I'll put the link for the Discord in the description box if anyone is interested in joining. If you need some community, it might be helpful. Any last words or things you'd like to close out with?
It's just keep chugging on through. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Keep going.
You know, pick a show that has a shit ton of episodes. I recommend Supernatural. It's great. And just watch. Let the world crumble around us. Well, maybe not let the world crumble around us, but just know that we can't change everything, and seek community, join our Discord channel, and just take time to appreciate the good things. As little as they may seem in these times, there are good things. Although they did take away the decades menu at Taco Bell, so my double-decker taco is no longer here. And now I'm depressed again, so thanks.
Well, the good news is there's other places like taquerias that have really good tacos. So
But
there's Nick's Tacos.
No one
and
has the double-decker taco, It's a specialty. It's the love of my life.
It's a delicacy it's the delicacy of our childhood.
Yep.
Those Mexican pizzas, man, when they took those away.
There was rioting. That's what people are doing about the I don't know if, I mean, you eat healthy, but they have the nacho fries that people went crazy about, and they just took those away too, and people were like, what the
Yeah,
don't take away people's food cravings. Not in times like this.
I don't think I've had Taco Bell since like 2005. So it's been a while. But yeah, there are, some other more taco places that are excellent, that are authentic, possibly still will give you diarrhea, but it's good. So if Taco
I will
Bell,
say, as someone who lived in Florida for 2 years, there is nothing, except maybe Mexico itself, but there is nothing that beats California Mexican food.
I agree. I mean, I wasn't in Florida, but I've been in Germany.
Yeah, Germans don't have good Mexican food.
No, like
Texans also don't have good Mexican food. They don't know what Mexican food is, which is surprising since they are also bordering with Mexico.
It probably depends where in Texas you are. I think they have more Tex-Mex, so it's a little bit different. It's more of like if like Chevy.
They try
here.
to make they try to do like barbecue Mexican.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the same.
It's a little different. There's some that is as good, but I feel like California specifically, I think Los Angeles specifically is known for their tacos. I learned that on Top Chef like yesterday. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I was born in LA and we always get Mexican food when we're down there. And it used to be even in NorCal, we had a harder time finding good Mexican food, but that's different now. Like, there's Mexican food everywhere. And I'm happy about that. But
the thing is you have to go to the street trucks. Those are the best.
Yes, this is true. And always a risk, of course.
Yes.
But yeah. But there is a place nearby called Nick's Tacos that we have not been to yet, but it is actually in like the Michelin guide as being like recommended. And so like there's this gem right down the street that we have not gone to yet, and we keep meaning to, but they don't have DoorDash. And I feel like so much of what we do is we DoorDash because we're tired and we don't want to go out after working. And so we just DoorDash. Like, if they had DoorDash, we would have had it by now. But you have to go there and it's busy. It's always busy. So it's one of those like, fuck, I don't have the energy for busy right now, But
so what you're saying is we need to start a TikTok, and then we need to go to this taco place and do a review and see if it actually is good.
We definitely start a taco review page. I'm only half Mexican though, so like that's only, I don't know if anyone could really trust me. They'd just be like, who's this motherfucking white guy telling us where to get tacos from? I'm, perceived in passing as white, but there is a little in my bloodline that is not. I'll show you my 23andMe results if you need to. But yeah, anywho, now that we've talked about tacos for like 20 minutes, we should probably wrap it up. So if anyone has any favorite taco recommendations, let us know. Or what is your favorite item on the Taco Bell menu? Drop it in the comments. Would love
Are you as depressed as I am?
How depressed are you on a scale of double-decker taco to Mexican pizza, or like fiesta burrito, or super nachos, Yeah. So All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And we will, again, see you next week.